Hi. The title of this session is called Small Scale IT Service Management Implementation, including CSI. My name is Michael Imhoff, and I work as an IT Service Management Consultant for Microsoft and an ITIL instructor as well. I'm also the chair of ITSM Denmark, a non-profit global interest organization with a focus on IT service management. I'm going to tell you about a project I did for a small municipality here in Denmark and how some of the principles from the ITIL Practitioner were applied. So this municipality has a quite small IT department, so 15 people in total, including a subcontractor who works on site, and that's also part of their challenge. Like so many other IT organizations, they wanted to get the basics in place as some of the first step. So that was very traditionally starting with the operational processes such as incident management, problem management, and change management. But even from the very beginning, we had an idea that we wanted to include a end-to-end view on services, so starting also by describing some of the services in a service catalog. In addition, we also had an idea that, well, this was a first step. It was an immature organization, but we wanted to improve as we went along. So there were elements of continuous service improvement built into the project from the very start. So as part of the continual service improvement effort, we also undertook a classical process assessment. We actually did that twice with a couple of years in between. And the purpose was really to identify where are we and where do we want to be. So the CSI approach, if you will. That assessment, or these assessments, also identified the gaps. So how did we want to close those? And that was addressed during the project. The interesting part, I think, was that besides getting this information, it also showed that, well, the organization surely matured, the processes became more mature, which were to be expected or hoped for. But at the same time, it also showed that the organization had higher ambitions. So the second assessment, well, there might be a higher level of maturity, but there was also a higher level of where we want to be. And in fact, so the gap was really more or less the same. That is very good and very fine, because it shows that the organization understood the concept of CSI and wanted to improve even further. Now, dealing with the individual processes, we also had a look at how can we actually measure and report on the processes, and then by that ensuring also that we do the right thing and we mature the processes using some data that tell us where we are. So critical success factors and key performance indicators were identified and measured on and reported on. And that was also part, as I said, of the maturing. We also figured out that, well, actually, long after we have done the initial work, that during this project we have really applied the 9 principles of the ITIL Practitioner. So that was not a conscious decision, that was just something that we decided, and it turned out to be, well, just like it's written in the ITIL Practitioner book. So some of the areas that is going to or have been addressed is, for example, service level management and business relationship management. And during those process implementation, we had a focus on value, and we kind of did a design for experience. core for the project was also start where you are and keep it simple. So we really didn't want to start from scratch and reinvent wheel, but at the same time we also wanted to keep it very simple in order for the organization to digest the information that was going to be described and rolled out. So kind of your classical organizational change management. Making the service catalog, you could say that forced us to work holistically, because here we wanted really to see service in an end-to-end perspective. As I said before, we addressed one area at the time, so it was, well, you know the expression, eating the elephant in small bites. And then you could say we progressed iteratively. It was very important not to undertake too many tasks at the same time with such a small organization, of course. We observed directly by defining the critical success factors and KPIs. And we very much tried to be transparent and collaborate with the rest of the organization, both those within IT that were not directly involved and with the organization outside of IT. So, for example, doing awareness sessions for all of the IT staff. So we are not done yet. There are still more to be done at this customer. We want to be even more aligned with the business. And in order to do that, we will be doing a classical business impact analysis in order to, well, really figure out what are the exact requirements of the business. This information is going to be very useful for a number of areas actually, so both business relationship management, service level management, and we also want to address IT service continuity management and disaster recovery planning. So getting service targets from the business, having that discussion about how can we actually deliver the right service levels and thus providing value to the business is going to be important. We also want to know the business requirements to recovery point objectives and recovery point times in these services in order to do the proper continuity management and disaster recovery planning. And not at least, we are going to do even more organizational change management. So that has been part of it. So awareness sessions, as I mentioned before, communications, stakeholder analysis, and so on. But that's surely something that needs to be addressed even further. And it's also a very important part of ensuring that the organization accepts this solution, the way of working, and the changed way of working, not at least. So thank you for listening to this session. I realize it's very short and not very detailed, but still I hope you have enjoyed it and get the message that you can do practical ITIL IT service management implementations even at a small organization. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you are interested, I'll be happy to elaborate. Thank you for your time.